All right, well, let's do this. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It is Thursday, one of the most glorious days of the week. I call it Friday Eve. Absolutely thrilled to have all of you on the call today. Let's see how many we have. Yeah, we have a good audience. Everybody is still coming in. So I'll tell you a little as people are coming in a little bit about my last couple of weeks, because that relates very much to the seminar system that I'm absolutely thrilled to kind of be soft launching to you folks. You're going to see yes, that's fancy marketing terminology there, right? You're going to see a hard launch later on, which is more advertisement stuff like that, because we have enough data here to where this thing works. It works. I'm going to show you some examples where I spent $8,000 myself, not a ton of money, but you know what? Just my side job, basically, which is personal production. That's not my full-time job. My full-time job is helping you find folks. Just my side job on that $8,000 investment that, frankly, I didn't put near as much time into as you find folks would be that have personal production as a full-time job, made 90 grand off that $8,000 investment. I tallied it up yesterday in preparation for this seminar. And I would say anytime you can tenfold, 11-fold your investment, really without much effort. Not that I want to set that expectation. I'm just telling you that's what happened with me. Without much effort, I would say that's pretty good investment, right? Before we get going here, can everybody hear me and can everybody see me okay? So this is kind of my usual test. Can everybody hear me and see me okay? I have the chat window up, but also the questions and answers pane. So if you can punch into the questions and answers pane that you can see me, that you can hear me, that would be great. Not only would you be telling me that the AV is looking good, it would also be kind of conditioning you, so to speak, on how to ask questions as we go. So can you folks hear me and can you see me? My guy Dennis says yes. Mike says yes. A bunch of people say yes. For those that can't hear me, they don't know what the heck I'm saying. So they don't know to say yes or no. Folks, so I've been doing this for not as long as some of you, but I've been doing this for like 25 years now. And many of you know that a large majority of that 25 years, I traveled the country and I did a lot of speaking. We're talking anywhere from 50 to 100 presentations a year. And that's experience that you just can't buy, right? I see some of these seminar shops out there that say, we've all heard this, right? That'll say, hey, give me $3,000. The ratio of dollars spent versus those that are going to, you're going to get like, oh man, you're going to have like 100 people in the seminar, maybe not the first one, maybe not the second one, but I'll tell you, if you do 3 of them and spend $3,000 a pop, so write us a check for 9 grand, I'll tell you that should work. And then they don't have much coaching behind it. It is just, they will get people in the room and trust them. Go all in with $10,000, $9,000 and just trust them. I will tell you this, that the experience that I've had doing these seminars, there's a lot of art in this as well as a science. So that's where the coaching comes in with this seminar. For instance, I have learned over the years that if you have light country music, like mine is always Brooks and Dunn, and we're here in Iowa, which may be different than New York City, for example, but light music as they come in, as you greet them. How do you greet them? You have a little humor, you're lighthearted, you're not buttoned up tight in a suit and tie, because they will immediately be standoffish. Why the music? Because as they're sitting there waiting for the seminar to start, it's very, very awkward sitting next to a person in pure silence, right? You have that ambiance there. Somebody comes in late. What are some nice, somebody called this a Gippelism the other day. Somebody came in late to the seminar last week in Ames, and the audience was looking back there because he was coming in with his wife. And I said, hello, folks, are you here for the karaoke contest? They're like, what? So just a little ha-ha type stuff, but that stuff matters. This is more of an art than it is, just as much of an art as it is science. And make no mistake, there's a lot of science in the Social Security system that I can coach you on as well. But I'll tell you, this works. The seminar works. And I'll also tell you, it's not a lot of money, $1,500, and that will get you, depending on your metropolitan area, which I can figure out the demographics and how big of a chunk is in your metropolitan area, within a 25-mile rate, unless we're talking like LA or New York or Philadelphia, a 25-mile radius, doing a seminar at 5 o'clock, rush hour, No, we aren't doing any 25-mile radius. But if you're in an area like that, you probably have a couple hundred folks that is your target audience, which I'll go into that some other time, your target audience for Social Security seminars. You have a good group there. But if you're sitting in Podunk, Iowa, I'm not in Podunk, but I'm in Iowa, and Podunk, Iowa, out in the middle of nowhere, or maybe Montana, right? Very sparse. You ain't going to get 30 people in the room, but I'll tell you, I have yet to do a seminar, whether it's my own, and I'm going to talk about those, or any agent seminars to where we've had less than 35 registrants. And the proportion of those that register versus those that actually show up, although they've gotten drastically better with technology that I've incorporated into the system, call it 50%. So if you spend $1,500, and I'll go into my actual statistics here in a bit, $1,500, and if you get, let's say 30 registrants, which, mark my word, I bet you can consider that conservative. But if 15 people show up, and I'll tell you this, but they're Social Security people. None of those people have any money. No, if you have 15 people in a room, I will tell you flat out, you're going to have 2, 3, or 4 of them that are millionaires. 2, 3, 4 of those 15 that are millionaires. Last 2 weeks ago in Atlantic, Iowa, you can look it up. It's where I grew up, right? 7,000 people at last check. It's dwindling. Rural Iowa is dwindling. Atlantic, Iowa had 15 people there. Lady comes up to me when we're done and she says, hey, can I talk with you about IRMA, Medicare IRMA, as well as my required, what are they called? Required minimum distributions. She goes, yeah, I have concerns with that. I don't want to take that. I'm paying like $500 a month for my Medicare. Like, wow. Then she goes on to mention that she's got 1,000 acres of land in a small town, kind of by Atlantic, which I won't go into a whole lot. Then it gets easily identifiable if you're from here, who that person might be. 1,000 acres of land, call it $10,000 an acre. She's got $10 million there in land. That's from a Social Security seminar where a month before, nobody knew me. I didn't know anybody, started marketing, boom, have 15 people in the seminar. And now I'm meeting with those folks next week, was supposed to be yesterday, but it's harvest season here in Iowa. So he couldn't do it, but there's going to be business coming from that. Now, I'm already getting excited here, and I haven't even gone into the 3 items that I want to announce. Hey, folks, if you are appointed with CG Financial Group, this is very important. Now, you have time, but it's ultimately going to be very important. Go to the website, cgfinancialgroupllc.com, and you're going to see the very last menu item, or the second to the last, is register for portal access. You're not going to get any acceptance or anything right away, because what's happening is I'm creating everything behind that portal. Firelight annuity e-applications, iGo, iPipeline, quote engines on life insurance, e-applications on life insurance. And by the way, folks, e-applications will change your life if you have not used them yet. Firelight on the annuity side will change your life. iGo on the life insurance side will change your life. So behind this portal, that you have access to all this stuff right now. It's just not in one place like it's going to be. But behind this portal, ultimately, after December, you're going to have 200 different articles back there. I write daily, right? Articles on cash value life insurance, on annuity ideas. Maybe it's news. What have I experienced lately at these seminars? So there's a blog back there. There's technology worth thousands and thousands of dollars to you, literally thousands of dollars over a year's period of time that you get for free, but you have to register for access. And ultimately, when we're ready to go live, you'll get an email that says your access is granted, and you can log on, and you will see, I have somebody that I showed around back there. It's kind of in the, what do they call it? What do the techie guys say? Is it the beta testing and stuff? He said, I've never seen anything like this. No other IMO have I seen is doing this stuff. So what I did was, all this stuff that I created in the Retirement Academy, which many of you are familiar with, I already created that. That was literally hundreds of hours of work. I click duplicate on all of that, move all of that behind a password protected area. Not all of it. All the videos are still over there, but I can easily hit duplicate on those videos. And now, boom, it's behind CG Financial Group, along with that thousands of dollars of technology. And that's coming to you in December. But in the meantime, request access, because I don't want December to come and then you don't have access, right? So that's number one of 3 announcements. Make sure you go out to CG Financial Group, LLC.com, request access. If you try to log in immediately after requesting access, it's going to say you don't have access. Nobody has access to it other than me, because it's in development, and the developers, of course. Number 2 is AIG, 10.75% caps, folks, 10.75% on their 10-year product. Street level comp, 7%. And I'll tell you, how easy is it to explain to a client? Yesterday, my seminar follow-up from Atlantic a couple weeks ago, talking with a guy that owns a business. I'll just put it that way. He said, you know, I'm looking for something to put my $150,000 I have in the bank to work. So first of all, I could probably beat the bank. 2-year multi-year guarantee annuities, over 4%. 5-year multi-year guarantee annuities, over 5%. And he didn't act real excited, even though that's certainly better than what he's getting at the bank. I said, however, if you want a little more than that, and if you're willing to go a little longer on the time spectrum, what about this? And I do this whenever I don't have my pen and paper with, I do this. Let's say the market drops year 1. What do you still have in your account? $100,000, no fees, $100,000, really. What happens if the market goes up, say 10% the next year? You get $10,000 credited to your account. You have $110,000, no fees. I think I would consider going a little longer out on the time spectrum there. Yeah, that's what most people are saying. But if nothing else, you can give them 5%, 5.2% guaranteed for 5 years today, right? That's a speed up. In Lincoln, last announcement is this, 8.25%. 8.25% is their performance trigger. The market is flat or up 8.25%. So my mathematical side says, so I know that over the last, since 1926, that the market has been up around 75% of the time, right? So let's weight this out. Let's just take 8.25 times 75% to give kind of a rough average return. What's that come out to? 6%, right? So 25% of the markets are going to be down, right? They're going to get a 0, but the other 75%, assuming the last 100 years almost, then that would average out, very simple math, kind of a weighted average calculation, around 6% per year. And that's how I explain the performance trigger a lot. And Lincoln, 8.25, simple story. Market is flat or up 8.25%. So let's get into this. Folks, do you have any questions about anything before we get into this? Because I'm going to get into before the seminar, what happens with marketing. I'm going to get into during the seminar, what do you get? What do I provide to you? And I'm going to get to after the seminar. Make no mistake, this seminar, yes, it is about educating consumers on Social Security. There's 330 million Americans that need help. They need help with Social Security. And I'll tell you, I start every presentation this way, Social Security presentation. Isn't it ironic? And that's what I tell them. Isn't it ironic? They're looking at me like, what? You just started. Who's this guy? Isn't it ironic that you have this asset, and that is the value of all of those chunks of income that you're going to get over your life, over your spouse's life, is many times the largest financial asset that we have in our financial portfolio, so to speak. The present value of all that can be 7 figures, folks. It could be over $1 million, all of this. So isn't it ironic? The largest asset that many of us have in our portfolios is also the most complicated. I've been doing this for 25 years. I have all my nice letters after my name and all that. And I will tell you, folks, audience, I will tell you that this is one of the most complicated financial products, so to speak, that you have in your portfolio. But isn't it ironic? You're left alone. You're left to make the decisions on your own. If you've gone to the Social Security Administration, any of these hub offices, Many people will say that the support there's a lot to be desired, right? As a matter of fact, they are told in their employee handbook that they cannot talk with you about strategies on filing for your Social Security. You are left alone. They are instructed to leave you alone. Yes, they could tell you how to file, where to send the information to, all that, but true strategies, they are instructed by the administration to not give you advice on filing strategy. So isn't it ironic? The largest thing in your portfolio is the most complicated, but yet you are left alone. Where are you to go? Because if there were 10 of me, a financial advisor, 10 of me in a room, I will tell you 9 of me do not know much more about Social Security than you do. I'll tell you that 9 out of 10 do not know a ton about Social Security. Let's be conservative and say 7 out of 10, right? You are left alone. That, folks, is why we are here to discuss Social Security, so that if you have $1 million coming to you over your life, then by all means, my job is to make sure that you get that $1 million versus suboptimally filing and getting only $700,000. You can bet you have their attention at that point in time, at least if you did your job, greeting them the right way when they came in, having the room set up the correct way. Does this have to be at a Fleming's? Folks, let me ask you this question. Answer me. Should this be at a Fleming's? Should this be at a fancy steak place? I'll let you guys come. Feel free to expand on your answer as much as you like. Should we be doing these at really, really nice restaurants? We have a quiet group. We have a couple folks that have answered, but has the rest of the group fallen asleep? Folks, should we do these at really nice places like it's a date night? Should we do this? Why not? That's a good question. So he's asking the question, which, yeah, hey, you tell me is what Dexter's saying. No. Now you can try it. You can try it. I will say that when it comes to these events, again, kind of gets to my first comment about write us a check for 10 grand and you're going to have to spend another 4 grand at the restaurant. I have not found that. I have not found that. Now, do I believe in good steaks and stuff? Do I get stuff in the mail from usually mutual fund wholesalers saying, hey, come learn about our mutual funds, make it a date night with your wife, go to Fleming's. And I have to say, it's like, I would like to learn about their mutual funds, but at the same time, it'd be enjoyable to have a nice steak, So I'm not dissing that stuff, but I will tell you, I have not experienced any better outcomes, certainly better attendance, yes, but any better ultimate outcomes, return on my money, because that's what's important, is the return on your money. Do you spend this and get this, or do you spend this and get that? I prefer the first one myself. Unless that second scenario provides more of a percentage of return on my money. And I think most of you agree that if you spend this and get this versus spending this and getting this, then do this and do it multiples and multiples and multiples of time, because less capital outlay up front is just a lot easier to get your hands around. I'm going to tell you this as well. We haven't even gotten into the slides, but I promise we'll be done by the top of the hour. This is not a write Charlie a $1,500 check and you know what, we'll talk to you in 30 days and let's hope and pray that the system is working the way it should. You and I will know within 5 days. You and I will know within 5 days, with the way that social media marketing works, if your metropolitan area has legs. I'll tell you, Des Moines, Iowa, has anybody ever tried to do a consumer seminar in Des Moines, Iowa? The insurance capital of the world. Has anybody ever tried this? I have. I don't know how many people are around here. By the way, is my guy Greg on? Let's see, is Greg on? This might be important. Maybe Greg wants to tell us about the seminar that he attended last week. I don't see Greg. My guy Greg attended the seminar that I did. He attended the seminar that I did last week in Ames. I would be putting him on the spot by saying, hey, what did you observe? There are a couple numbers in here. Maybe he didn't punch in his name. Are you on, Greg? Are you on? Tell me yes or no. Well, I guess the real question is do you want to opine, if I unmute your call, on what you saw at last week's Ames seminar, now that he's put on the spot? But as he's coming in, if that is him, I see a couple numbers that look like the Iowa area codes. I don't see any Gregs on, but maybe that's him. I'll tell you this, I don't think you need a fancy steak place. So let's go to what I did. So I did a mixture, 8 seminars. A part of this was, I'd say 4 and 4. 4 of them were at libraries. Now here's a note on libraries. Libraries many times will say you cannot get a room here if you are selling something. Now I've tried everything, right? Well, I'm not selling anything at the seminar. I'm educating them on social, and I tell the truth. I always tell the truth. I don't lie. One thing about me is I don't lie. I'm not selling anything at the seminar. I'm educating them on Social Security, but then later on, it's possible a sale is had, but not related to Social Security. Most of the time, you're not going to be able to do it at a library because of that. And there are programs out there to where you could pay $50 for a nonprofit badge and prove, oh, I'm actually a part of a nonprofit. Well, I don't do that. I don't do that to where you could almost like lying a little bit, right? That's my opinion. Almost like, no, there's going to be no profit made of this. Here's the nonprofit. I'm just going to educate them on Social Security. I tell the libraries, I'm like, there may ultimately be a sale, but that's not what I'm going to present on. And 2 of the libraries I found just lets me do my deal. They're absolutely fine with that. The other 4 seminars that I did, and these are just me. There were a few other agents that did seminars with very good results. One agent had 96 registrants out in California. Another one in the Northeast had, I think, around 50 registrants. And then there was one here in the Midwest as well that had, I've never had a seminar less than, 35 registrants or so. So here are the 8 seminars that I did. The 8 seminars that I did, $8,000 in marketing. So over a month's period of time, as we'll talk about, I spent $1,000 in marketing, right? And almost nothing on the food. It's not a fancy restaurant. It's a library or it's a Holiday Inn Express, which are pretty good. They're pretty good nowadays. Last week in Ames, it was at the Town Place Suites. Greg isn't chiming in. He's either not on or he's being quiet. He doesn't want to talk. These are like $100 for the room, right? $100. So 8 seminars, a little more than $8,000, let's call it. But $8,000 was what I spent in marketing. Registered 312 registrants. So math wise, that's less than what I'm running at. I haven't done the calculation on this, but it should show less than $30, around $25 per registrant, right? Okay, how many people, let me ask you the question, what is your formula, folks? If you have 312 people registered, how many people are going to show up? Assuming you do a good job on confirming and all this other stuff, assuming you do a good job, how many people are going to show up for that seminar? What percentage, let's say? What percentage of people that register show up for seminars? I'll tell you, so the first couple that are embedded into this 8 number, John's been there, done it. He's been there, done it. Yes. 50 every time, seminars or webinars, 50%. What's embedded in this 8 here, the 8 seminars, the first couple, I didn't do as good of a job because this is my part-time job, right? The personal production part is my part-time job. That is my laboratory in which I come to you guys and say, I did this myself. I'm telling you, it works. This is my full-time job. So I wasn't overly aggressive with the first couple seminars, and we're talking like 30% of the folks showed up versus those that registered. But overall, as I've refined this system as I went, that has gone up. The last couple have been more than 50, to where overall around 50% or 148 people have attended versus the 300 or so that actually registered. 50%. So that's my way of saying that if we do our job correctly, first of all, you should expect at least 35 registrants. And I'm talking $1,500 here over a month. If you're in a bad area, I'll tell you up front, like, hey, I'm looking at the numbers here, the demographics based off my radius. Don't even give it a try. But most of us have Most of us have that. Most of us have the heft to get 30 people in the room from a demographic standpoint. So what happened over here? Met with 40 attendees. So I will tell you this, my guy, Greg, I think he's MIA. I think he's just being quiet. He would attest to, I had 8 meetings before I even left the seminar room last week. How did you do that? We're going to talk about that. So there were 19 people there, and I had around 50% of the people agree to a meeting before even leaving the seminar room. Now well, I'll get into the meeting thing here in a bit, but so call it 50%, right? Well, why did you meet with only 40? Folks, do you think even some of the attendees that were probably hot prospects, do you think I've had time to follow up to every one of them as I should, as I would if it were my full-time job? No. When I see 20 attendees in a room, we leave the seminar room. I have 8 appointments. I call a couple of those folks, make a couple sales equaling multiples and multiples and multiples of the cost of the seminar. That's all I need to know before I come to you guys and say, this works. But you put somebody in my shoes doing this stuff that does this full time. That's the only reason I do this, is just so I come to you and say it works, because I don't want to do consumer seminars throughout Iowa. I want 50 agents across the country doing seminars that are working, and doing these seminars maybe monthly or so. You're making $500,000. I make my IMO override off of that, which is like, oh man, I make like 50%. Yeah, my override is like 50% of what you're committing. No, I'm kidding. I make a little sliver off the top. That's the IMO override. And that's the extent that I put into this. That's the extent of the testing that I do. So my point is, when I met with 40 attendees, well, Charlie, you're only scraping the surface. I know. And that's the beauty of these numbers. So what did I sell? It doesn't take much. When we're talking a small investment, 900 grand in AUM. So call that $9,000 a year that'll be coming in there. $2,000 in life insurance premium. It was a guy that needed a new term quote. No long-term care, by the way, which is kind of surprising. I do have some in the hopper for long-term care, but 1.4 million in annuity production. This is over the last year and a half years. So my part-time job doing this, 90 grand. And that is on an $8,000 investment. Now, could I probably have made double that, $180,000, if I was more serious about this? Absolutely. But I have enough to tell you this works. And that's all I have time for. I don't have time to run to Atlantic, Iowa to do a gazillion meetings. Now, the clients that I do have, I'll tell you, I take a lot of time, sir. The clients that sign up with me, a part of that 90 grand, they get the best service ever. So it's not like I completely orphan them once they sign up. No, I just need to know that there's only one Charlie, right? I can't hit all of those meetings, all those 148 attendees that attended, of which about half of them tell me they want to meet with me. Of which that 148, 70 of them have said that they want to meet with me. Call it 60 to 80. I don't know the exact numbers on the evaluations here, but call it 60 to 81 to meet with me. Only had time to get out to see 40 of them, right? So here's what happens. I've done a lot of testing with the marketing, and that $8,000 does not include the initial seminars that I scheduled, but then it's like, yeah, this marketing, it ain't going to work. I tried video. I'm a fan of videos, as many of you know. The videos were just not as impactful as something like what you see here. So if you say, Charlie, I want to go ahead with this, what does it require? Well, it requires $1,500, number one. And number two, it requires annuity contracts, as well as a commitment that anything that comes from these seminars are written through me. This is a first come, first serve situation. If I have a massive agent in Minneapolis, Minnesota, for instance, and if he's like, I don't know if I can't hold out that area forever, right? Somebody comes in and says, dude, I'll do it, and I'll do it aggressively. Let's schedule something for St. Paul or whatever. I'm going to do that. So first come, first serve on your territory. But I will say there is more waiting. If we have a conflict, the person that comes in that didn't give a dang about CG Financial Group before and probably never will is not going to have the priority over an agent that's already done a good job and I know is loyal to CG Financial Group. And that loyalty builds over time as well. Maybe you're brand new as of today to CG Financial Group, and in an area that hasn't been touched. Then let's get rolling. Let's see how this works. We can start the marketing today. I just need your picture there, right? I need you to call the best place in town, and I could help you with that. Is it a library? Is it a hotel? Holiday Inns, Town Place Suites, anything Marriott is good, right? But this is what your social media flyer will look like. I've tried probably about 10 of them, and I'll tell you, this one works the best. This one works the best. It's not hyperbole. It's just straight to the point. There are some comments that I put in the posts as well that the consumers see. Such as the first letters, Ames, Iowa. They're scrolling through. Whoa, that's my backyard, right? So there's a method and there's psychology to what I post out there, which I'm not including it in this, not including all of it in this, but there's a lot of psychology out there. There are different emojis I put out there that I have just found works after testing and testing. So here's what the marketing looks like. Any questions coming in? Here's a good question from James. Per ad, do you show one seminar dates or two seminar dates on the same ad? I have only done it so far. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays work the best. Actually, Atlantic a couple weeks ago was on a Monday, and I had Atlantic, Iowa, town of 7,000, had 15 people show up, of which a couple were millionaires. But Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays, some people will say, just to get to his question, what if I schedule one on Tuesday and one on Thursday? Because if one time doesn't work, the other will work. I haven't done it with this system yet, but I did it with a previous system. And I'll tell you, I didn't notice that the sum of those two dates together equaled what I would normally do in just one date. Now, if you're in an area where it's like, wow, you're going to max out the room. You have a room that can only hold 20. If you have a room that can only hold 20, by all means, we need to schedule two different dates. But I haven't found the whole, well, but if they don't have time on this day, then they could always book that day. I just haven't found a big benefit for that, but a lot of people have. So I'm not against that. I just have not done that yet. What I've done to date is just one date when it comes to the social media advertising. But the ads, they start 4 weeks in advance. Leads are instantaneously fed to you. The technology that I use hooks up with Facebook. You get an email immediately after that person agrees to attending a seminar. Why am I emphasizing that stuff? They're not agreeing to winning a $50 gift certificate. They're not agreeing to a fancy steak. They're not agreeing to a wine tasting event. Again, nothing against those. They are very clearly agreeing to what you see here, in addition to sign up for the seminar on this date at this time. It's very intentional. But then you get those leads immediately. I'm going to show you some statistics on the importance of you getting those leads. And that has to do with the confirmation calls. You can see here, confirmation schedule and scripts are provided for you. Now, here is what very fancy here, right? It doesn't have to be fancy. You get basically what we ask that person upon sign up. So that person, this is a Becky, of course, this is my AIM seminar last week. Becky has a phone number, an email address. That is what she typed into social media before she slid across that she wanted to register for that event. Immediately, within a minute, you get this email. This email pops in, and what happens? Well, look at those statistics over here. Actual physical contact, and these are kind of not industry-wide, but nationwide marketing metrics. And I've heard this before in a lot of different seminar events, and it is only 27% of the leads that you try to get in touch with, do you actually get in touch with? And I would say over voice, that is true. If you get 100 registrants getting in touch with 27 or 30, I would say that is true. But here's what's important. Here's where you can separate yourself, right? This sounds creepy, but the power of contacting somebody within 5 minutes of them registering, certainly within an hour. If you can't do 5 minutes, an hour is pretty good, right? Check out that statistic. The likelihood of reaching that lead, that registrant, within 5 minutes is 10 times higher than if you let 10 minutes go by. It's a little creepy, right? And I have to tell you, I started doing this and it works. And I felt creepy at first. Hey, you just registered literally a couple minutes ago. This is Charlie, the Social Security instructor for the seminar that you're going to be attending here in a couple weeks. Just 3 quick questions for you. And I'll tell you, when you start doing that within an hour or within 5 minutes, you never run across that person that we've all run across if you've done enough of these confirmation calls. Where did you get my information? I never registered. Where did you get my information? No, I promise you, you literally clicked register like 8 minutes ago. That thing that popped up that said that there is a meeting on this date and register here. Oh yeah, you're right. You're you know. But if you call out a couple days later, you get that a lot. You do not get that if you call out within an hour. You certainly don't get that if they literally just click register and you call out to them within 5 minutes. So I have technology to where you get a notification. Text, I'm working on that. I'm pretty confident if you were to say, hey, it's important I get text, because I'm not glued to my emails like you are, Charlie. It's important I get text coming to my phone. I'm sure that technology, well, I know the technology is there. It's just a matter of what my cost would be to sign up for that, if you're emphatic on that. But yeah, so that's what the confirmation email looks like. Boom, you have a lead. Call out to register. Or call out to confirm with that person. So lighthearted. People do not like buttoned up, tight people, right? So I'm lighthearted with a lot of stuff, because if people don't like you, they will not do business with you. And here's the way a normal call looks like when I call out to them within 5 minutes. Hi there, Bill. This is Charlie Gipple, the Social Security guy, I guess you would say. Hey, I'm the instructor for the Social Security seminar taking place in a couple of weeks. I really just have 3 quick questions. Number 1, you just registered for the Social Security and I'm not reading verbatim. I just have this in memory. You registered, just want to make sure you were still attending. Good, great, glad to hear that. Number 2 is, are you bringing any guests? For head count purposes, I need to know if you're bringing any guests. Okay, that's great. You're bringing one, your spouse. What is her name? Because I like to print out little pasty name badges. Just need to know her name. Excellent. Well, feel free to bring questions. You're going to have fun, most importantly, but also almost as importantly, you're going to learn a lot. I promise you. So that's what the confirmation script looks like. And you'll put that in your memory. I'm not saying read from a script. I'm just saying that works. And they kind of like the more lighthearted nature versus some of the call centers with other systems that will happen. I believe, by the way, folks, I believe, and I have heard this a lot, I did not expect a call from you personally. I did not, that's kind of cool. I didn't expect a call from the person that is actually doing the seminar. Yeah, I like to personally reach out and just say, hey, thank you for registering, but then of course ask those 3 questions there. So I believe I did a couple seminars with a mail house where they did all of that, the follow-up and stuff. And I'll tell you that on 2 occasions of the, I would say 60 people over those 2 seminars. So we had a good turnout, very, very, very expensive. On 2 different occasions, it was, who is that lady that calls out? Who's that person? I shouldn't say lady. One lady said lady, the other person said person. Who calls out and does your confirmation calls? They didn't really know what you were going to talk about. And they were snotty. I got that on 2 different occasions there. Between the point that one registers, say 4 weeks prior to the seminar, as I say, do not put it in God's hands. I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, but I'll tell you, when you say, oh, they registered, they're going to show up. Because why would you register if you're not going to show up for something? At best, if you have that thought process, you're going to get about a 10% show up rate. At best, you will get 10% of the people that register show up if you just don't do anything. So at least every week, including the day before and including the morning of, you would have sent them calls, you would have sent them emails, and you would have sent them a text message, right? Land, sea, and air. I'm telling you, this works. This gets you above 50%. And it's crazy. Still 50, 60%. We have to fight for that 50 or 60% show up rate versus those that register, but that's the way it is. But all this stuff together will help you, as in the person presenting does the calls. The email that it comes from is the person presenting. An email goes, that will help you. A text goes. Texts are very powerful, right? Oh, here's one. Call from your cell phone. Again, this is stuff you can't really buy, and this is experience that I've kind of gone through. I have no hair because of some of the experiences I've gone through. If I call from my CG Financial Group line, even though it's clear that I'm the owner of CG Financial Group, do you think they're going to pick up the call as frequently as if I were to call from Charlie Gipple? Or a cell phone for that matter, doesn't matter the name, just do you think a business is going to get a pickup versus the cell phone? The cell phone, folks. So a lot of this is strategy here. What do you get during the seminar? You get material for the seminar, of course, which is the presentation with a script. This presentation back here, this was me and Ames last week. By the way, last week I was in Ames. Last Wednesday, I did a webinar, a Social Security webinar, not a seminar, for my guy down in Florida. We had 26 people on, and guess how many people registered? Around 50 people registered, 26 people on the webinar. The week prior to that, like I said, I was in Atlantic. Next week, I'm doing a Social Security seminar for one of my top groups out in the Northeast. And we have almost 50 folks registered for that webinar. They don't know any of these people. It's social media marketing getting these folks on the webinar. But the webinar is not the topic. But anyway, this is last week in Ames. So you get the presentation with a script. You get my coaching, my recordings on the presentation, how I do it. You get evaluations for the end of the seminar, which are very important. This is how we condition those folks for, do you want to meet? Circle on your little evaluation there when it is that you would like to possibly meet. We'll get into that in a bit. Name badges as well. Name badges, they work. Plus, what I like to do is the name badges, print out the name badges for the people, print out the exact same thing for your information. Because what you'll be able to see is the people that have name badges, those that are going to attend, versus the number of name badges that are gone. You don't have to write, oh, this person is here, this person is here, this person is here. You know, by the end of the seminar, as well as the evaluations, who was there and who was not there. Who was there versus who registered and who was not there. Print off the name badges for them, print off a list that's similar to the name badges. If a name badge is gone over here, that tells us that they attended, right? In addition to, of course, their evaluation. Coaching on room setup, you know, some of the Charlieisms, I guess you would say that do work, a little bit of humor, right? And you have to have humor in presentations, especially with a 75-minute seminar, which this is, a 75-minute seminar. And I will tell you this, that if you're one that says, I've had this happen a few times. Charlie, I'm looking at your seminar here. What if I threw out this and added this? What if I threw that out and then added this and did this? We all have our own communication style, but when you start changing the fundamentals of the presentation, do it at your own risk. I had somebody a while back want to completely change the seminar. I let them, and they said, yeah, I think it fell kind of on deaf ears. Then I had somebody after that want to change the seminar. I said, don't waste my time. Don't waste my time, because I'll tell you, you're going to come back and say you're not happy with it if you start changing things around. So that's what I'd say on this. You know, the music, the introduction, what kind of food to bring, which literally it's no more than $100. It's Costco cookies, which are very good. It's little bags of chip. It's water, it's Coke, it's Diet Coke, it's Sprite. That's the fanciness of my seminars here at the Town Place Suites. That's it, right? So here you have the name badges here. I had fun with this as I was preparing this presentation. We've all been there, right? You have the husband that's forced to attend because the wife wanted to bring him. The sleeping guy that always seems to sit in the front, right? I'm fortunate in that I can usually keep them awake pretty good, but every once in a while you get the sleeping guy. It's never the ladies that sleep. Good job, ladies, right? And then you have The Rock, you have Elvis and Bill Gates and them. Oh, then the guy that finishes your sentences, which I kind of enjoy that guy because you have conversations back and forth. So the presentation with script, the evaluation and the calendar, which is on the back of the evaluation, and the name badges. Here's the front and the back of the evaluation. So here's a way that I end the seminar. I end the seminar with the link. The link. What is the link, Charlie? How do we make money off of this? Yes, we've educated them. Then do they just go off into the sunset and it's like, hey, glad you guys attended here? No, the link is their RIP, their retirement income plan. And it's the last couple of slides there. Folks, we accomplished a couple things today. Number one is what we accomplished is certainly a better understanding on Social Security, right? You all agree, and they're all like, yes, this was fabulous. Well, the second thing is I may have confused you more, right? Because this is specific to each and every one of you. There could be two Charlies pretty much made the same amount of money over their lifetime, same retirement ages, but the optimal retirement income strategy, Social Security filing strategy is completely different from this one versus this one. Why is that? How is that? Because Social Security is about so much more than just Social Security. It's also about Roth IRAs. It's about 401ks. It's about cash value life insurance, all this stuff that can add to your income, because we don't care what your Social Security check is. We care about what your net Social Security check is after taxes. So my point here is, Mr. Attendee, Mrs. Attendees, most of the time they're mostly ladies, right? Ladies in Social Security, they like Social Security. It's a safety thing. Plus, there are a lot of widows, and there are some widows in every single Social Security room. So understand your survivor benefits as well. So here is what I would propose to you, fine folks, the attendees today, is get your own specific retirement income plan. So what we can do is we can put on the back of the evaluation, there's a calendar. Many of you are wondering what the calendar is for. That just shows you the dates. If you check just 2 dates, you don't have to put a time on there. That's very preliminary. I'll reach out to you and we will set up a solid time and everything. So what you're doing is you're conditioning them psychologically. And many times that's when the husband looks to the wife looks to the husband, and they start to shake their head, right? And then you get X's. You get X's on this, kind of like this. This is an example. Kimberly, nice lady. Yeah, she was Ames last week. Nice lady in the front. And I'll tell you, if you do a good job, these are the common deals. Every once in a while on a length of seminar thing, you'll get a little less than 10 because it's 75 minutes, but I'll tell you, it's hard to cram everything that you want to cram into less than 75 minutes. But then over here, so how easy is that? I call out to her within 48 hours, ideally within a day, and we get something booked as we have booked here, right? Okay, so when you get something booked, what happens? What happens after the seminar? That's where I have for you folks an email. It's just a very simple email. It is what you would tell her when you call out to Kimberly here. Hey, it looks like you had put on the evaluation here. By the way, thank you for your time. It looks like you enjoyed the seminar. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those, which brings me to, Kimberly, the dates that you had checked here. So let's go ahead and get these dates booked. The 28th looks best for me. Okay, that's good. Let's do 28th at 3 o'clock or whatever. Okay, Kimberly, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you a bunch of questions over email. It's very simple. Over email, I'm going to send you a bunch of questions. Also going to ask for statements. The more information you have, the more productive our call would be. Otherwise, I'll tell you, I've had people not fill out these questions, and we still go ahead with the call, but it's mostly a fact-finding call. But if you fill these out for me for our call, what I can do is we can get on that call and kind of discuss your situation, and it will probably lead to a second call. So I have that template for you. Or, by the way, folks, because I do these seminars everywhere, to get outside of Des Moines, because Des Moines, as I was alluding to earlier, it's a horrible place to do client seminars. Many of those first calls are Zoom calls. So that's why I'm saying calls. Your calls may actually be meetings, fact-finding meetings. So you send the email that I have for you that's about 20 different questions, also asking for statements, and they'll get those for you. But then the ultimate link is this. The ultimate link is this third bullet point, the retirement income plan. If you don't have the software, I do. This is where I can come in and help you with this, coach you with this. This is literally a snapshot from one of the slides at the end. And this is literally a client that I worked with. By optimizing her Social Security, the green, the light blue, turquoise, whatever color, 39,000, by optimizing her Social Security and adjusting a couple areas in her portfolio, we are able to get a projected additional income over her lifetime of about $670,000. Social Security got her an extra couple $100,000, but then some other things, namely an annuity with a guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit, was able to get her, well, a total of almost $700,000. That is the link, usually not in that first phone call, but the second phone call or meeting, in your case, if you're in that person's close geographic area. That's what the second meeting looks like. You've taken their information, you've worked with me, you put it into the system. This is Journey Guide is what it's called. It's like 75% off for the agents of CG Financial Group. Instead of $100 a month or so, it's $25 a month. Some of the best retirement income planning software out there. Helps you optimize Social Security, helps you with the annuity sale. It sells annuities all day long. Also helps you with a long-term care sale, the cash value life insurance sale. Why? Not because it was designed to help anybody with a sale, no, but because the numbers do not lie. Mrs. Klein, how is it we're able to do this while repositioning your $100,000 that's only going to get you $3,000 per year from your securities portfolio by putting it into here, and you're instead able to get a guaranteed for life $6,000 or $7,000? That's a microcosm of why our green bar is so much higher than our blue bar, in addition to filing for Social Security at the optimal time. Folks, this is the link to everything. This is what makes you doing this financially worthwhile for you. This is where it all comes back around right here. But the very crux of it is the seminar. This is the seminar here. Boom, 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 boom. So going through when they file, when they get their check, what about the delayed retirement credits versus the penalties? What is your amount determined off of? Well, once you do get your Social Security, it doesn't stay that way forever. No, you get a COLA. And by the way, I need to add something. 2023, 8.7% is the COLA for 2023, right? Spousal benefits. The case study, which they love the case study. This is the difference between folks doing the suboptimal thing, getting only 830,000. Remember how I said, folks, at the beginning of my presentation, I said 7 figures. I said $1 million. That's not hyperbole. I'll tell you, I've seen $1 million Social Security projections. I see that every day. Well, the difference between filing correctly down here and incorrectly, again, could be a couple $100,000. And folks, what it all comes down to here is what you have in front of you. That's the calendar on the back. Tell me how I did. Did I suck? Was I great? Was I somewhere in between? The calendar on the back will tell me when might be a good time to reach out to you, find folks for that retirement income plan. And this is a client I worked with, folks, a while back, blah, blah, blah. I get excited talking about this because I'm telling you, it works. Folks, in the evaluation here, I told you we were going to be done. In the evaluation here, there are questions. Do you want more information on this? Do you want more information on the seminar system? Do you want me to reach out to you? As well as tell me what you think of this. It's a quick evaluation, kind of like what we do with the clients, a quick evaluation on this webinar. Tell me what you think of it overall, and tell me if you want additional details on this. More tactical, I can get you the more tactical stuff. But folks, I do appreciate your time, and have a good remainder of the week. Here comes the evaluation.